Patrick. So nice to meet you.
How are you?
I just kind of want to jump off of that question
Yeah.
as well. So this film, it's dealing with the recovery after a disaster.
Yeah.
And we've been talking about it everywhere. And when it comes to these films, Roger Ebert has called movies empathy generators.
Wow, that's cool.
And what are your hopes that people can take away from this, that maybe have had commentary about the LA fires or really any other fires, that maybe don't see the empathy in that?
Well, I don't know, and ultimately, I really like the idea of an empathy generator. I think that's a really well articulated description of what we do, what filmmakers do, and but in some ways, I mean, I guess the way we are fed information and have been for years and years is through news, and so we see the disaster. We don't always see the aftermath, and therefore we don't often see the hope that comes out of it. Some of the stories of like the charity that's gone on in LA and people coming together to support each other is so beautiful and so hopeful. And that's why I love this movie, was that, there's so much darkness and sadness that's associated to what happens in this film, but out of it, something very wonderful comes out. And, the title of the movie is Rebuilding. In the movie, it's there's a scene where he goes back and he, meets someone to talk about rebuilding the ranch as it was. And I think Max is very smart and astute to look at, we can't necessarily build back as things were, but that's not necessarily a bad thing, and that there's an opportunity to build something stronger and more community-based and more together, and I think that's very a hopeful message.
Welcome to Sundance. This is probably your first time here, right?
Yeah.
I overheard that you went to Brian Head. How was that?
It was loads and loads of fun. It was lots of fun. It was my first time skiing, so yeah, it was a bit scary sometimes, but not much.
Awesome. Well, tell us about your character and what it was like working with Josh O'Connor.
My character is the daughter of Josh O'Connor in the movie, Dusty. My character's name's Callie Rose. And working with Josh, he was always making sure other people were happy and cared for and knew their lines before checking on himself and making sure he was okay. So yeah, that was really lovely of him.
Very cool. And are you excited to be seeing this for the first time with the Sundance audience?
Yes, it's going to be so exciting to see the response and the reactions of the people in the thingy.
The thingy, exactly.
Forgot what it's called. The
No,
cinema.
it's cinema. Yep. Well, Lily, thank you so much. Talk to us about this film and your character.
This film is very special. I mean, Max, he wrote an amazing, beautiful script from experience, and it deals with something actually that's very relevant to right now with wildfires and the tragedy and what that happens. But it really focuses, I really like this film because it focuses on what happens after and the beauty you can find in the struggle and the tragedy of community and how community comes together to rebuild, and the inevitability of change is necessary, and how what does that look like? How do you rebuild? There's not anything that you can rebuild just like it was, and how do you move forward? I think this film really brings some kind of hope to something that usually gets looked at as something really tragic.
Right. Well, that sounds incredibly timely.
Yeah.
Given the fires in LA, was there anything after? Have you seen the film already?
Yes, I have.
Was there anything after seeing it that was like, this hits a new level of authenticity that I didn't realize before?
Yeah, oddly enough, I got to see it while I was in LA. Right the day before the fire started, I was in LA and I had seen it on my iPad, and it was just really ironic that this is something touching on. It's just really serendipitous, and I didn't, because of the context of the film, it's not like, just focusing solely on just the loss. It's focused on something else that we really don't get to explore in a really beautiful way. I thought that this was, right on time.
Yeah. Well, I can't wait to see it and looking forward to it. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you
time.
so much. I appreciate it.
Yes, I was here last year for the first time.
What was that first experience like for you, and now what is it comparing to coming in for the second time?
Well, the first experience was really special because I was here with a film that some very dear friends of mine wrote, produced, and directed, so I was just really proud of them. And to do that with friends was really cool. I obviously had no idea what to expect, so now being here the second time, I have a little bit better of an idea of the lay of the land, and it's a little bit more familiar, but to be here with this film is really unique and very special, and I'm so proud to be a part of this crew of incredible people.
And when the film, it's about community, it's about coming together. How was that off screen when you guys were just shooting the breeze or working on scripts? Was there a community feeling with the cast?
There was a huge community feeling. I mean, from day one. I came in a little bit later. They had started shooting prior to me getting there, but it was a very close-knit crew. We were having dinners and, going on adventures on the weekends and hanging out through the week while we were shooting. And it was just like a very easy vibe. Everybody got along very well. The set was always very calm and peaceful and supportive, and it was just a really positive experience.
And when people leave the theater after seeing this, especially with the news lately, what do you want them to take away from it? And is there any action that you hope that maybe audiences will do afterwards?
I really hope that people watch this film and feel like even in the worst moments of your life, there is a light at the end of the tunnel, and it is possible to, rebuild. In a literal sense, but also an emotional sense. And community is a huge, way that you can do that.
Awesome.